Master Chef Trucking, how are you doing? This is nowhere going to be Master Chef 4-star quality. It's just going to be one idiot in a truck making some burritos. And considering we broke down in Paducah for 5 days because of a transmission problem. We had to make our delivery, switch trucks, get back on the road as soon as possible. We're not doing too bad otherwise. So, but as you can see, we have a little bit of a layout here of what we're going to be doing with these ingredients here, including the lettuce over there. We're going to make some simple burritos. There is a little bit of a compromise. I'm using some Frito bean dip for some refried beans because I ate the refried bean can that I had. So, but we're gonna doctor this up a little bit. This has a little bit of spices in it, some jalapenos and some other spices in it. But we're gonna add a little bit to that. That's gonna be just fine. Like I said, sometimes getting a little creative, instead of getting a regular can of unflavored, refried beans and then spicing up yourself, we're gonna start with the Frito bean dip here. Go ahead. Oh, really? Oh man, that's terrible. See, Wednesday of last week, coming into Memphis, I had some grinding, some rubbing, some hellacious noise from the fourth gear ring, which is 9, 10, 17, and 18. Stopped at the northwest corner of Memphis, called my office. They said it's under warranty, drive it till it breaks. Another hour north on US 51. Either US 51. The dang thing broke. And it was like driving in neutral in 9, 10, and 17 and 18. There you go. Hey, Lori, Crochet Corner. How you doing, Lori? Hopefully we don't bore you too much with this recipe. No audience choice menu this week because of my truck being down, having to switch everything to this truck and having a lot of catch up to do. Just didn't have the time to develop a menu selection for everybody to vote on. But hopefully next week we will be back to doing the audience choice menu selections. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Tomorrow we are going to do ramen. A nice traditional ramen. We got some shrimp up in here. We got a little bit of beef. We got onion. We're going to come up with we're going to do a little tempura as well, I think, if I can find some oil. We got a little bit of gyoza up there, so we will go. Oh, Master Chef, yeah. Go to let me find my well, let me do it on here. Here, I'll just do it on here. I'm going to post my my Facebook link. Get in contact with me that way, and we'll work something out for that. Let me see here. YouTube, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Let me get this thing set here. Sorry. There we go. Let me put this. There we go. That is my Facebook link. So just get in touch with me there. Sandy, how you doing? That is my Facebook link. Let me turn that off. Don't need to be hearing me twice. So let's go ahead and. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't get you know how it is out on the road. We're isolated. I don't have Christina with me right at the moment. So your Christina's, back in Atlanta taking care of some stuff. So we got it's a little bit less fun on the road than it used to be. So we got some Italian seasoning, Standard McCormick. This is going to give us our herbs, a little bit of flavor there. We got some whole peeled tomatoes in juice, which we'll see how that is. We got a pound of 73.27 ground beef, chili powder, black pepper, red pepper flake, some contadino tomato sauce, a yellow pepper, a red pepper. I had a green pepper, but it just did not look good enough. So we're not going to worry about that. We have a yellow onion, garlic. I also have fresh garlic, but I'm going to use the rest of this up first. So we got some tortillas here. We have some green onion. We got 3 stalks of green onion. We might use 2 of them today. The other one we're going to use for tomorrow's dinner of making a ramen. We got some cheddar cheese. Of course, real American. We got our refried beans. We got a little bit of lettuce. I wanted to get some black beans to put in there, but as per usual, I can never find them when I want them, and I don't eat them enough that I'm going to keep them on stock in the truck. So we will do as we can. Hey, Josh, how you doing? YouTube with Attitude, how you doing? So we got ourselves a hot plate here, a nice cast iron pan. We got an 8-inch pan, a 9-inch pan here, which we're going to cook in the tortillas in. We're going to do our meat in here. We got a 8-inch wok. We're going to do our refried beans in that. We got a couple of bowls here for our meat and our refried beans. Stick in there. A plate for all our vegetables. We got knife. We got cutting boards. Spoons, spatulas, whatnot, so we can do everything the way we're going to go. So, what we're going to do first, we're going to take just a simple little plastic tray I got from Walmart. Like I said, it's fairly dirty. This is right now. I just keep pans on this so they don't slide around, just to help organize stuff. So, we're just going to take all of our stuff here, stick it on here so it's out of the way, not falling all over the place. A little bit of organization, like what the French chefs call mise en place. Everything in its place. Right? That way we can find everything. I'm just going to throw this to the side there. Okay? So we're just going to do that. We're going to take our spoons and spatulas we need to stir and measure and take things out with. So we're just going to throw that down there. Of course, we're going to clean as we go. We just got our disinfectant wipes. We got a bag here. We got plenty of extra towels here. No paper towels. Paper towels are right up with paper plates. I just don't like it. This is not a rental, Josh. This is a company truck. The same basic exact layout, so it doesn't look any different than normal. This is just a heavier truck than my truck, so I'll only be in here about 2 weeks. So, but we'll do what we got to do. So we got some naan bread here, but we're not going to use the naan bread. We got tortillas. So a nice cutting board. I still have not sanded this side here, which I want to do, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. So take our regular cutting board right there. We got our plate for our vegetables. The last thing we're going to cut is the lettuce. Hey, Ralph Floto, how you doing, sir? Long time no see for you. I appreciate you coming in. So we're gonna, like I said, we got some red onion, some yellow onion. Unless you're colorblind, then it's a red pepper and a green kumquat, or bell peppers of various colors. You choose what you want to see. Beauty and reality is in the eye of the beholder. So we're going to take a nice, sharp kitchen knife. This is a simple, Damascus style blade, traditional French, shape. Got it off of Amazon. Not too expensive, like $30. But it's not the overall quality of the blade. It's how you use it. So we got a sharpening steel or a honing steel or a honing rod, whatever you want to call it. And we are not technically sharpening. We're not really removing a whole lot of metal, but we are aligning that very fine edge to be as sharp as possible, which is always what we want to do. I'm going to take that sticker off, stick it over there. All right. So you can go around the edge and just cut out the seeds. I like doing this. We're just going to run our blade around the perimeter here. Now, a smaller knife is better for most people, gives them better control. But I feel I have enough skill to do that safely. And that's the key, safely. If you don't feel safe using a big knife like that, get a small paring knife. The way you're right up on there, you're controlling it a lot better. But like I said, I have no problem using that. So we're going to take our trash bag here. We're just going to pull that cap right on out. The vast majority of the seeds are out. See, 1, 2, like 2 seeds fell off, looks like. And there's a couple of seeds on the little veins in here, which we're going to cut in between the veins like that. We're not going to use all this, so we're going to set that one aside. The veins also, just like with the seeds, have some of that capsaicin, which makes things spicy on the tongue. Plus, they just don't have really any other flavor. And they can have a different texture than you want. Mr. Stephen Huber, how you doing, sir? Hopefully you have had a good Thanksgiving and are looking forward to a good Christmas. Salty Dog, my friend, how you doing, sir? So we're going to take that. Now, we could dice this, but I like it sliced. I like nice long slices. So we're going to turn that over. Cut that in half. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. Just press it down just a little bit there. Let me put that down there. No more than about 1/8 of an inch thick. Nice long pieces is how I prefer to have it. Like I said, you could dice it. You can make shorter pieces, make fatter pieces. However you would like to do it. So we're going to stack those right there. This is going to be half a yellow bell pepper, half a red bell pepper. Like I said, I would have some green in here. A, for the visual interest, but also there is a slight difference in flavor between the red, the yellow, the green, the orange, a purple one. But we are not going to really grouse too much about that. So we're going to put this into storage. We'll make something with it. We'll have leftover burrito meat, so we can always, slice this one up and use it later. So we're just going to take that one, set it off to the side. I need we got a little Tupperware thing here. I'm just going to throw that in there real quick. Stick that off to the side. And then the same thing with the red pepper. And I showed you with using the big knife. I'll stick that off to the side. Like I said, the small knife is typically going to give you better control, whatnot. And we need to, every time you use a knife, throw it on the steel. Wipe up any loose metal that's actually taken off, which should not be a whole lot using this. Having a stir fry, all right. You can't go wrong with that. So like I said, we're going to grab the knife very far forward on the blade. We're not going to hold by the handle here. We're going to grab it on the blade, so I can see where my fingers are, back off the blade. So we're not wrapping our hand all the way around it. And we're just going to go in. We're going to use our index finger as a guide. Poke it in just a little bit. And just pull that around. Using the thumb as a little bit of as a lever. And you can really feel the individual veins in here as you go around when you do that. So we're going to pull that right out. Bing, bang, boom. See the veins in there? This pepper grew with 3 veins. That yellow one grew with 4 veins. So we're just going to kind of split it as evenly as we can. So this one here, we're going to take that vein out in a nice little horseshoe. Throw that there. Nice and clean. Goes in with the yellow one. This here, we'll do the same exact thing. We'll trim that up. Try to keep the seeds that are on there from falling off. Be as nice and neat as possible. There we go. We just cut that right in half there. So, like I said, that's another technique you can use. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. We're going to slice that nice and thin. Like I said, about an 1/8 of an inch, roughly. Stick those right there. These are nice and firm. Still has that vitality of life in it, which makes your vegetables so much better to eat and enjoy and get the actual nutrients out of it. Stick that right there. Go. Just stick that knife there for a second. And just out of force of habit, wipe it up between every vegetable, every bit of meat. Every time you change an ingredient, you just give that a quick wipe down. Not that it's really necessary, but it's just force of habit that I try to do. All right, so we're going to take another clean towel, not the one we were wiping the knife blade on, with the getting the little tiny bits of metal in there. So nice and dry, nice and dry. This is going to be our wipe down our disinfected stuff towel. Stick that in a particular place. Like I said, we're going to use a little bit of green onion. I think just one. We're not going to be too fancy with it. So we're going to trim off the roots there. Bing, bang, boom. We're going to take the outer layer off because that gets oxidized and used up. We're going to trim that off there. There we go. And we're just going to kind of, we're not going to try to be ultra fancy because this is going into the meat. I'm just going to give that a quick rough chop like that. Scoop that up. Put that right there. There we go. And a quick wipe up. No, I mean, like I said, that I used to take my dirty dishes into the shower and do that, you know, and clean them in there. But these work so well, you know, it's just easier, faster. I went into a store. I found there was like 24 on the shelf. I snagged 5 of them. I didn't want to take away from everybody. I mean, I probably could have, you know, done that, but I didn't want to take away from everybody. So let other people have a little bit as well. All right. So now, it's like I said, this green onion here is going to go into our meat. We could even put it into the refried beans if we wanted to. Take the bottom off there. This is a yellow onion. I tried to get the very firmest one I could find, or 2 that I could find. Cut that into that like that. I'm going to take the top and the second layer off. That's it. Normally in a house, I would be throwing all these scraps into a kitchen garden. Not exactly applicable in my situation right now, but throw all that into the kitchen garden. You know, let it do what it's supposed to do. All right. Grab that towel there. There we go. Get that little bit of excess water cleaned up. Just for the heck of it. All right. So we're going to take about 1/3 of this, I think. Really doesn't matter how you slice it. So we're going to stick that over here. We put it away later. I'm going to slice that right in half like that. Put that up like that. And we're just going to slice it long ways like this. Fairly thin. A little bit tougher than I thought. Maybe my knife needs a real sharpening now. Fold that down. All right. Woo! That's a strong onion. Yeah, like that. Now we're going to take these pieces, be a little more careful cutting them because they can fall over and slip a little easier. Take that like that. Pardon me. Well, that's a stronger onion than I thought it would be, but there you go. So we're just going to kind of mince this a little bit. We're just going to cut across it to dice it a little bit more. Then just have these little slivers. But I don't mind it being a little bit rough. Woo. Them's is strong. Let me get a towel here for my eyes. Yeah, that onion's a little bit stronger than usual. Okay, like I said, I'm going to do this lettuce last. Raleigh, how you doing? Matthew Johnson, welcome on in. So, like I said, the lettuce we're going to do the very last so we can keep it as fresh and crisp as possible. The rest of these will survive a little bit more. So, you know, we're good to go. So the diced onion, we're going to throw right here. Yes, that is a lot of onion for our meat, but that's going to help to give the meat mix the flavor I want it to have. Because we're going to have the cooked onion, which is going to give a little bit of sweetness. Then we're going to have the raw onion, which is going to give us a little bit of that bite. All right. So now this is our basically the majority of our prep. Like I said, some beans, some other other things that you may want to put into that. You're good. It's just too sad. I gotta cry. All right, so we're gonna wipe this down because we are pretty much done with our cutting board. So we're gonna clean that off. There we go. Like I said, I'm not too worried about spilling anything on the floor. I got a vacuum. I got carpet cleaner. I'll clean it later. I ain't one of these people, oh my God, it fell on the floor. The whole world's going to end. I'm not into that. So dry that off. Bring that. And we're going to stick that right back where it belongs in the cabinet. And for those of you who have not seen my kitchen cabinet, here we go. So all the way down to the floor. I got a large area there. Let me move that out the way. Get back up in here. There we go. So I got a large space down on the bottom for tall things. This is where all my spices and whatnot live. Instant potatoes, potato soup. Most of the things that are spices and whatnot live right in there. And they're in a container here, so if it accidentally spills, it's contained by this little basket. Utility drawer right there, for all the utensils. Pretty much all the canned goods, or the vast majority, live on this shelf. This is my ramen, and there's all the canned goods right there. This is my ramen shelf. All my Japanese ramen cooking, soba, soup, whatnot, all lives on there. Got a salt crock here. I got a cup that has fresh garlic in it. Then of course I got the taller utensils in the door. But this whole wood unit here I built to fit this this particular cabinet. Took off the hinges here. Took the door off. Took this latch off. Just barely slides in. Sits nice and tight. Re-screw those back on and we're good to go. All right, here we go. No news on the truck. Like I said, I left headquarters Wednesday morning and went up north in Minnesota. Went up to the north of Minnesota, picked up this baler I have, came back down to near Minneapolis, picked up a little skid steer, brought that skid steer out to Ottawa, Illinois on Friday, made that delivery, got to Richmond, Indiana Friday night, which is on I-70, right on the border with Ohio. Slept there last night. This morning, got up, went as far as I possibly could with the speed restrictions and the route I have to take. So we are here in Clifton Forge / Covington, Virginia on I-64. So we're going to put that down there. So like I said, we got our vegetables prepped. We got our spices and everything else ready to rock and roll. So we don't need the knife anymore. That's all been cleaned. So we can stick that into the old drawer there. We're just going to use this paring knife from now on for anything. All right, so like I said, nice heavy cast iron pan. I did what some people consider sacrilegious. The surface here, I ground out the factory surface with my angle grinder. Ground that down to a better surface in my opinion. The factory surface I don't like. So we got our hot plate. We're going to plug this all bad boy in. Get that going with some heat. All right. So we're just going to wipe that out real quick. We are not going to be putting any oil, any other fat into this pan. We're going to be relying solely on the fat content of the beef. So 73% lean, 27% fat. This makes a very nice tasting, ground beef. Some people are, oh my God, all that fat. Oh my God, I'm going to die. No, but there you go. That's my opinion, but there it is. So we have a lid. We got basically a universal lid for our big pans. That's going to sit right on there to let things get together. Like I said, when we do our refried beans, we're going to be adding a little bit of water to this. Maybe a little bit of cheese, maybe a little bit of something else to make that the flavor I want. And all our spices and whatnot are right here, ready to go. And then we have, like I said, we'll chop up some lettuce at the last minute for that. We have a pan for the tortillas. And we're going to use this wok for the refried beans. So we're just going to, and then everything else will just set and make it go. But we're going to let this get nice and hot. Touch that. That feels good. So cast iron will heat up a lot more slowly. It'll hold the heat a lot better. So slow up, slow down instead of a sharp up and down. So it does pretty good. Yeah, Salty Dog, I wish I could be driving a W900. I like the way those look a lot better, but that's a personal opinion. So let me find my, I'm going to do my knife here, Now, I would prefer to grind my own meat, but I'm not in a regular house. I'm not in a kitchen. I don't have the resource, the tools or the space to do that in. So we always have to make a little bit of compromise on the road. And one of this is having someone else grind the hamburger. And given the size of this refrigerator, you don't have a whole lot of choices to get that done exactly the way you want. All right, let's. Gonna get that going. But definitely moving from one truck to another, even in a temporary fashion, has been a pain in the backside. One, I wasn't going to do without my kitchen. When I'm on the road, I'm on the road completely. I'm not going to go in here to the McDonald's here, or the Pilot or the Love's hot dog roller and call that a meal. I don't do that. I don't have a microwave on the truck. I gave up the microwave because I never used it. I prefer real cooking. So, there you go. Travis Lucas. That is a sharp looking picture you got there, Mr. Travis Lucas. That looks sharp. I thank you for what you have done. I'm a military brat. I only served as a dependent. Other than that, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. So that's starting to smoke a little bit. I don't think you can see it on camera there, but starting to smoke a little bit. So we're going to take and cut this beef there down the middle, like that. There we go. Throw that into the old doohickey there. We're actually going to get a wooden spatula here. We're going to brown that up, get that all cooked through. And while we're stirring it now and again, we're going to add our other ingredients as we go. Some already minced garlic, a good spoonful of that. So that's the side there. All those little bits that get stuck on in there until that fat really gets out of there. Just going to add flavor. A good thing of black pepper. Excuse me. Woo. Yeah, baby. There we go. A little bit of that. We're going to add a little bit more of that. A little bit of red pepper flake. Not a lot to make it spicy, but enough to give it a little bit of tickle all the way in the back. Oh, yeah, baby. We're going to take a little bit of Italian seasoning. This is kind of a go-to, an all-purpose, give it a little bit of herbiness type thing. Spaghetti, tuna fish, lasagna, any kind of pasta sauce, burritos. It's good all-purpose thing. All right. Got those in there. We're going to take our diced, quote-unquote, onion. Scoop that in there. And a little bit of green onion that's in there. So got that going as well. A little more pepper. We're going to let those onions sweat out in there. Release some of their sugars. Get that little bit of sweetness going on in there. There we go. I think we're good for that. Stick that out the way. Red pepper flake out of the way. We're going to take a little bit of standard McCormick's chili powder. Kind of an all-purpose thing. We're just going to put that in there like that. There we go. If we need more, we'll get more. Get that Tex-Mex kind of flavor going. You smell that cumin in that, smell that flavor really get in there. That's why we want a high fat content with our meat, because the oil, the fat, the lipid that's in the oil will really activate the chili powder, really bring out the flavor a little bit more than just water, or if this was a very dry mix. We want to toast that seasoning just a little bit in here. Now we're going to use some whole peeled tomatoes. This is the messy part. So be a little bit on the, be aware that it's going to make a mess. Rattle Trap Fishing, how you doing? I do apologize for not really tuning into you as much or commenting on when you're doing your live streams. most of the time I'm driving. So I apologize for that. But so we got a nice amount of fat in the bottom of this pan. We're going to drain the tomatoes here a little bit. So water and tomato juice. That's going to add some flavor. Now, we're going to take our tomatoes. These are like little plum tomatoes. Just kind of break them up with the hand. Nice and rough. You know, you don't have to be all delicate with them. So we're going to try to, come on, get out of there. Well, it's not really cooperating. Wants to break apart. That's a rather large one. Yeah, that's a little larger one. So, like I said, don't just crush it as fast as possible. It's going to squirt all over the place. I'm trying not to be too much of a slob, but, you know, just break it up with your hand. Just like Grandma used to do. You know, just measure it with your hand, break it up with your hand. Well, it looks like you really only got 3 tomatoes in there, but whatever. Yep, see that? All that juice just came out of there. So we're gonna, and as it cooks, it's gonna break down a little bit more. I'm just gonna get that off. No, I will not be licking my hands with this particular ingredient because I'm not a big fan of raw tomato. I never eat a raw tomato on a burger or a sandwich or in a salad. My tomato has to be cooked. I know I'm weird, but there you go. All right, so a cotton towel, not a paper towel. I don't like paper towels. This will go in the wash in my laundry, so we're just going to throw that down there real quick. The closest I get to a paper towel is the Clorox or Lysol disinfecting wipes. Throw that in there. Dry the old hands off. Different clean towel. So there you go. Alrighty. So now we're just going to kind of stir that in. Now, at this point in the game, with your burrito taco seasoning, at this point, I could either go to the left and make chili out of it by adding some beans and some other vegetables, whatnot, and a little bit different spices. Or I go to the right and make it burrito meat, enchilada meat, taco, tostada, whatever type of filling you want to do. So we're going to let that. Put that to the side there. There we go. I'm going to throw a lid on it. You can find the lid. Here we go. Got to turn the temperature down a little bit. I'm going to let that simmer for a moment. All right. So we do have a can of tomato sauce here, which we could use. If it looks like it's being a little bit too dry or it doesn't taste quite right, I might add some of this. But I think for the moment, we'll be okay. So we're going to put this garlic away up in here. Now, we also could, if we wanted to, take a little bit of the Amore tomato paste. Gives a little bit deeper flavor. There we go. Hey, the hobbyist, how you doing? So you can always have a tube of this available. Makes a soup, makes a normal chicken soup 10 times better. Makes a sauce or gravy a lot better. We also have some chicken bouillon, some beef-based bouillon, and some sauteed onion. Better than bouillon. This stuff is really great in a soup. But we're going to let that burrito meat go for a little bit. Let it simmer for a little bit. Get all the flavors in there. Let it kind of meld together. Let that tomato. Unfortunately, we're not going to be cooking this for hours and hours and hours, so that tomato completely breaks down. But we're going to do what we can. It's going to just add to the texture, not so much more to the flavor. So, like I said, we got our refried beans here. We're going to do in that little wok. We pretty much got the majority of our vegetables done. We just got to do the lettuce. Like I said, but we're going to do that absolutely last. Right before we do our tortillas. So there we go. So we're going to get other things put away, straightened up, and kind of just organized a little bit better. Now, you can buy the cheddar cheese at the store, already all cut up and whatnot, but if I can get my fingers around here, there we go. So, get another little plate here. I do not have my pasta bowls with me. I had to leave them on my truck. Hopefully they're not banging around and breaking stuff or stealing stuff while it's in the shop. That's all I can do is hope. So instead of using my nice pasta bowls to do this in, we're just going to use a plastic plate here. So, got our bowl here. Let me get the wider thing here. So we have a microplane box grater. This is the best box grater I've ever owned. It's not just your basic, dollar store, in the kitchen aisle at the grocery store. This is a very high quality one. Sharper blades all here. So a rough, this is sort of a medium cheese. That's a rough, slight cutter. That's a fine cutter. And that's like a slicer right there. So we got some Cabot cheddar here. So we're just going to take a bit of this. The colder your cheese is, the easier it's going to slice, the happier you're going to be. So try to keep your cheese, even if you put it in the freezer for a little bit to really firm it up, that'll give you a better result. But we're just going to use the big grater size here. We're just going to go fairly quick with it so that the heat on my hand, my body heat, doesn't soften it up too much and make it more difficult to do this. Now we can leave it out at room temperature once we get it all cut. It'll melt a little bit easier when we put it in the burrito, but I'm just gonna go slowly. Be careful going over the blades here. All right. Reach up in there, grab as much of that cheese, pull it out there, makes it cleaning a little bit easier. There we go. So a nice little pile of Vermont cheddar cheese. Gonna stick that right there. We'll clean that up in a little bit. We're pretty much done with all the prep work that you could possibly want to do. So we're just gonna kind of move this around here, fluff it up a little bit, so it doesn't just become a pile. Right. So we'll stick that away because that's nice and clean. We're gonna take this. We're going to stick it right up in the refrigerator here, just to keep it a little bit colder. All right, so our meat is almost, somewhat ready to go. All right. So we're going to take a kitchen towel here, just set that on the floor, so when we take the lid off, all that excess water doesn't get all over the floor, all over the carpet, stays in that towel, hopefully. So, yep, there we go. A little bit soupy, but not too bad. That'll bind with the cheese just well, just perfectly. Gonna grab a spoon here. Take a little taste test. So, I said nice and wet, all that fat in there. The onions are just getting a little bit softened. Needs just a pinch of salt, I think. Excuse me. A little bit of salt. Let's give it another quick stir here. There we go. Let's see. All right, we're doing pretty good. I mean, yeah, that's definitely just a little bit of salt. Helps to ionize the receptors on the tongue. Makes everything stand out a little bit better. So we're good for that. All right. So we're going to take our lid, stick that right back on. We're going to move our towel over a little bit. We're going to close this drawer here. There we go. Move our towel over a little bit. Put that out the way. Here. Yeah, it's just a little bit hotter than I want it to be, so we're going to use a regular kitchen towel to grab that. I'm going to set that on the floor, out the way. There we go. Move it so we're not going to be stepping on it. All right. Once we got the meat done, it's a pretty easy thing. A pretty easy thing. Now, I do not have any olive oil. I got a little bit of sesame oil in there, but that's going to adversely affect the flavor. I'm not going to put sesame oil in my burrito here. We're going to take just a tiny, tiny bit of butter to get the beans going. And we're just going to use a spoon for that. Let's throw that in there. There we go. Pick it up in there. There we go. Like I said, we're just going to use a bit of the Fritos for our refried beans. Not exactly the best way to do this, but sometimes a little bit of compromise, a little bit of inventiveness will lead you to things you never really thought of before. And now you want just a little butter in there to help to keep this from sticking as much. There's a little bit of oil in here as well. Turn that down, put that in there. And we need a little drop of water to thin it out and to keep it from burning. Because I like it a little bit thinner. I don't like it, super thick. A little bit of water will help to thin that out. And we're going to taste it in a little bit once it gets all nice and smooth. I mean, not exactly attractive right there, but a little bit of beef escaped. Yeah, oh well. And so we're not trying to cook this. We're basically just trying to warm it up. There we go. And we're not going to leave it in the pan here to burn. We're just going to warm it up, get it over into a bowl, and then we'll spoon it out of the bowl. Or we just want to get the lumps out of it, get this nice and smooth. Normally, I eat the Fritos bean dip ice cold with some Fritos. Dang it. But I think with the flavor of the meat and the way this is tasting hot, I think I'm not going to do much of anything to it. A little bit of butter in there, that's fine. A little bit of water to thin it out. I think that's about all I really want to do to this. So we're just going to keep this moving so it doesn't burn. So we want to warm it up. We don't want to cook it. So I'm going to take that, throw that over there. We got a bowl for it. So let's move this over here a little bit. These are dirty. We'll throw those over there. Over there. Now this is one standard can, which is more than enough for the burritos we're going to eat tonight. Now, warming the bowls up would be a good thing. So I'm going to put them in front of the old heater here. We'll set that in front of the hot air coming out of the heater. Get my phone out the way here. Stick that right over there, I guess. So, yeah, warm that up just a little bit, so it's not cold, not going to suck the heat out of the food. So we're gonna. I said this is very thin compared to what most people are going to see for refried beans. I said I like it a little bit thin. I like it spread nice and even. We're going to take that. We're gonna throw that down on a towel so it doesn't burn melt the carpet here. So there's our refried beans. Here's our pan for our tortilla. We're gonna turn that temperature up a little bit. We're gonna set that right there. Got a spoon in it. There we go. We're gonna get another little towel for a handle. There we go. There we go. We got our bowl here for our meat. Not exactly necessary to do that, but we're gonna be a little bit fancy here. That in there. Get all that fat in there. Just scoop the meat out. There we go. There we go. That in there. Get a spatula here, and for the most part, a good cast iron pan, properly cooked on and properly maintained, it's pretty much non-stick. I mean, I still got a little bit of work to do on this one, but ain't gonna worry about it. Fairly clean. There we go. Stick that right there. Put that pan inside that. Put that lid on there. Little treat for the chef. There we go. And here is our beef. Yes, that is all fat on that juice right there. That's going to make it extra, extra, extra yummy. I'm going to spill a little bit, but that's why we have sheets to protect that. Okay. We're good to go. So, that's getting hot. This is Frescados tortillas. I've had these for a little bit, but ain't nobody gonna complain. At least hope not. So then there, like I said, a little bit larger than my pan. So let's throw that over to the side. Gonna grab. We got a Pepsi for our drink. Turn that over like that. Turn that heat off. We don't need any more heat in there. Okay. A little bit of onion to try to escape. So our lettuce. We're not going to be too fancy with this. We're just going to take a little bit off at a time. going to hang a little bit off. There we go. That right there. There we go. And we're just going to slice it basically the same thickness as we did the green peppers or the bell peppers. Like that. Quickly run through them. Here we go. I'm going to turn that over again. Stick that right there. Big bang boom. Let's throw that up down there where it's not going to hurt anybody. We're going to grab a nice another little plate here. Hey, Lori, no problem. As soon as we're done here, I'll be coming over to join you there on Lori's Crochet Corner 2. We'll see you over there too, Raleigh, as you normally are. So, standard plate. Nice hot tortilla, not cooking the tortilla. Warm the tortilla up to the proper maximum temperature before it starts to cook. It's already been cooked. We're just warming it up. All right, so we're going to get our cheese out of here. There we go. Stick it off to the side. There we go. So this is my way of constructing a burrito. So grab our plate here. Let me position this again. Right there. So we're going to take a it's a fairly runny bit of the refried beans. Right there. Nice even coating. About 2/3 of the way. That right there. This is going to be the top of the tortilla. This is going to be the bottom that's folded up. So we don't want to go all the way there because this little piece down here is going to be the flap that holds everything in. So I do a little bit of that. A touch of the cheese. Just a little bit. Mix up, get some of that juice, that fat into the meat because it will separate. A bit of that in there. This will be a messy burrito. The extra little fat in there. I don't care. I like it messy. So we got another little bit of layer of cheese on top of the meat. Make sure the cheese is touching the meat. That way the cheese melts. If it's on top of the vegetables, which are typically cold, cheese isn't going to melt. I don't like that. When I go to Taco Bell or any other Mexican place, I tell them, cheese on the bottom. I want my cheese melted. So we're going to take a couple pieces of our pepper here. 2 of each color. There we go, like that. A little bit of our onion. Bing, bang, boom. Nope. That. Good bit of the lettuce. Nice and crisp. Right on top. There we go. Like I say, black beans, a little bit of rice, guacamole, cilantro, lime, whatever you want to put in there, that's good. So here's how I fold up a burrito. I don't do it like Moe's or like the other places. I do it this way. So fold one side over, fold the bottom up, fold the other side over like that. Bing, bang, boom. If you can see the bottom, well, maybe you see the bottom right there. Fold it up in a nice little pocket. Holds in real easy. So now, of course, for the ultimate, the actual reason we're all here, the taste test. Mm. Like JJ says on Good Times, dynamite. So as you see, a simple meal. And an hour to make and start eating. We're gonna wash it down with a somewhat cold Pepsi. But that's burritos in the trunk. I've done it before. Like I said, I got 8 burritos, 8 wrappers in the bag here. I'll probably have 3 of these tonight. So I'll probably have 3 of these tonight. Tomorrow for lunch, I'll have 2 or 3 of them. I might have a little bit of leftovers. You can take this, make a taco salad, enchiladas. You can do various other stuff with that. But other than that, not too bad. But super simple, super easy. Make it the way you like it more than anything else, and you're going to be set. You're going to be happy. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm making ramen. The week next, if we keep our fingers crossed, hopefully I'm back in my truck. Hopefully. And if we are, and I have the time, I will be putting up the 5 menu items for Sunday night's audience choice dinner. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll try to do that. But tomorrow, we're making a traditional Japanese ramen. And possibly we're going to make some gyoza with it, a little bit of rice, maybe some onigiri roast balls, and just maybe a little bit of tempura. We'll see. So other than that, thank you all very much for coming in. I appreciate everybody for taking the time to listen to me ramble on, watch me do a little bit of cooking. And like I said, if you have any suggestions for meals to make, feel free to send them in, whatever, and we will go from there. But until then, God bless everyone. I hope everybody will have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Christmas, and a good New Year. And hopefully we can all get our act together here in the United States and, do things correctly and right and, and get back to being normal human beings again, except instead of the blithering idiots and rabid dog, foam at the mouth morons that we seem to be lately. But other than that, not too bad. So thank you all very much for coming. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for some ramen cooked just like this. And we'll go from there. Talk to you later. Thank you very much. Have a good night.